Hey everybody, this week's tip is on overtraining and under recovery. What is overtraining, Jenny?
That would be too much training that our body can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing.
Yep,
I didn't know there was a syndrome though.
it's a syndrome.
There is a
You know
syndrome.
what's serious when there's a syndrome.
That is serious.
Yeah. So now if you are so a lot of times what happens is people, especially in New Year's, like what they start doing is they start working out a lot. They go from doing nothing to exercising a lot.
Yes.
And what they also do is they stop eating.
Yeah.
So they completely reduce their caloric intake. And that combination, you might lose a lot of water weight at first, but your body has a hard time being healthy when you over exercise and under recover.
Correct.
And that's why we put under recovery in, because a lot of times people say, "Oh, you should never work out 2 days in a row." Well, I would argue that you can if
you're doing it right.
Yeah, so what are some good things to make sure you're recovering properly?
Well, we need our fuel. So
Yep.
eating right,
Mm-hmm.
that's huge. We can't undereat. And that's common because we want to see that scale go down.
Yeah.
So under eating is really probably the worst thing we can do.
Yep.
For our recovery.
Yep.
Sleep is huge. Sleeping, and then our stretching and foam rolling.
Yep.
And our water.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to the water.
Yep. Yeah. So now let's look at in body. So now, for example, if you are consuming fewer calories than your base metabolic rate, this is the caloric minimum that this person should be eating every day. And if they're south of that, your body's going to have a hard time recovering.
Right.
So make sure you're at least consuming that many calories. And if you're consuming, for example, 1,800 calories, you're still seeing a dip. Some good indicators, let's talk about that, of overtraining could be losing skeletal mass, plateauing, or gaining body fat.
Correct.
All right. And then you got to look at like injuries and things like that. So
yeah. And being so many people come in, they're just so fatigued and tired and they're not feeling it. And then you really have to ask yourself, okay, have I been eating enough? Have I been getting my sleep? Have I been feeling my body the right way?
Right. Yeah. So those are all good things. Now, one piece I want to talk about is you mentioned foam rolling and stretching. Now, if, for example, you have very weak glutes, your glutes don't activate properly, and you are doing German volume training or a lot of volume, and it's a lot of hip flexor and a lot of hamstring and quad, and your glutes really aren't contributing, those muscles are going to go under tension in a lot of volume because they're not getting help from your glutes, right?
Right.
So sometimes overtraining could come from muscle imbalances, and it may not have much to do with your nutrition or your sleep.
Sure.
So you just got to know what's kind of happening in your body. If you feel like your nutrition is good, you're getting plenty of sleep, and you're still having aches and pains, and you feel like your body is fatigued, but your mind might not be, it could be a mechanical issue.
Yes, and that you might need help from a coach with.
Yep, for sure. So in recap here, guys, we really don't feel like many people have issues with overtraining. They have more issues with under recovery.
Yeah.
So make sure you're getting a post-workout drink. Make sure that you're getting plenty of nutrition during the day, and make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. And you should be putting your metabolism in a much better spot to be the best version of yourself. Hey guys, my name is Luke.
I'm Heidi.
And we're here to talk to you about heart rate training. Here's why heart rate training is important. We all do it, okay, whether you like it or not. So when you're doing weight training, when you're doing full body strength training, the point is to not burn calories. That's not the point of doing strength training. Now, the point of doing strength training and full body resistance training is to build muscle, okay? Now, when you build muscle, you burn calories as you are doing that, as you're actually going through the strength training program. But if you add muscle mass to your body, you burn more calories at rest.
Yep, later on.
Which is awesome. Now, our program, especially in this challenge, we're helping people build muscle and burn fat. The objective of resistance training and full body strength is to build muscle.
Yes.
The point of cardio is to burn fat, right? So that's kind of what we want to get our heads wrapped around, those two pieces, right? So now, So we're not talking about resistance training. We're going to talk about cardiovascular training. Okay, now when you do your cardio, so say that you're out for a bike ride. Okay, you have two options. Your body has two options. You can either burn what and what for fuel?
You can either burn fat or carbs.
Yes, fat or carbs. Very good, Heidi. Nice job.
Thank you.
So now, at complete rest, when you're sleeping, you're in your REM sleep, having sweet dreams, what type of fuel do you burn mainly?
Fats.
You burn mainly fat. Almost 100% of the calories you burn at rest is fat calories.
Does that mean we can just sit around and do nothing?
Nope, can't do that. Well, you could, totally, but you're not going to burn very many total calories. Now, the bottom axis here is heart rate. So heart rate goes this way, and the vertical axis is calories, okay? Calories is going up. So now, as heart rate goes up, you burn more calories, but you burn less what?
So heart rate goes up, you burn more calories, but less fat.
Okay? So fat utilization goes down, and you start to use what?
You start to use carbohydrates.
Yep, and this is carbs over here, okay? As heart rate goes up, you burn less fat and more carbohydrates. The point here where you start burning less fat and more carbs, you burn more carbs and you do burn fat at this point. That's called your anaerobic threshold. Okay? Now that's important because this is 80% on your my zone. So that's yellow. So yellow and red are on the higher side here. Okay? Yellow, red. And this is going to be gray, green, blue. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, the point of doing cardio is to burn as many calories as possible. However, we want to burn as many calories as fat as possible. So the answer is not just to stay in gray the whole time. The answer is not just to stay in yellow the whole time. The answer is not to stay in green the whole time, right? Now, it really depends on what your world looks like. If you only have time to work out 2 hours a week, okay, as a coach, I'm likely not going to tell you to stay in the gray zone the whole time, okay? I'm likely going to give you advice to be at a higher intensity than the person that has 6 days a week to work out. They're doing 3 days of full body resistance training, 3 days of cardio. That person's going to have a different program than the person that only has 2 hours a week to work out. That's why it's important to understand why there's a 14,000 MEP cap. Okay, because as I just explained, there is a point of diminished return. Okay, so working out in yellow and red the whole time doesn't do you. It does you some good. I don't want to say it doesn't do you any good, but in order to truly have balance in your life and to get the results that you want, there needs to be a balanced approach to your heart rate decisions while doing cardio. If you look at the MyZone app, there's a lot of pre-built workouts that really help out with this. It keeps you primarily in these lower zones, and there's not any heart rate workouts that are constantly in the yellow and red. Also, to piggyback off of that, so say that, for example, a healthy person is going to have their AT go this way. Okay, so we've all had those situations where you, hopefully, I guess not all of us, but some of us had those situations where your max heart rate increases. Okay, and when your max heart rate increases, that means that you're shifting everything up. Okay, so that means that your anaerobic threshold, so that's why it's a good thing to get a heart rate change. You get a heart rate upgrade because that means that your anaerobic threshold is also going up. If your anaerobic threshold is going up, that means you can burn fat at a higher heart rate, which is a good thing. 98, 99, 100. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I'm Luke. What's that? Yeah, I was doing curls and squat rack. Yeah, I know, it's not great gym etiquette, but it's okay because today I took muscle strength. In all seriousness, muscle strength is a great way to bust through plateaus if you're the person that has a hard time putting on skeletal muscle mass. So in that 5th week, check in at half point. If you're not putting on muscle mass like you think you should, then this might be a good opportunity for you to try muscle strength. It's not something that I would suggest if you're new to doing weight training for. So if you've been exercising, doing weight training for 1, 2, 3 years, something like that, and you need a little bit of a bump to break through some plateaus and just get the needle moving a little bit more, The main ingredient is called HMB. It's a derivative of an amino acid, and studies show that it helps the muscle tissue from breaking down as fast. So if your muscle tissue can maintain its integrity for longer, you could typically push your muscles a little bit further than they typically could, which equals more strength, more muscle gain, and also more MEPS. It also has 2 adaptogens, and adaptogens help your body adapt to stress. It helps buffer stress. There's one adaptogen that helps more males, and one adaptogen helps more females. So these adaptogens can really help your performance also. So if you need to bust through a plateau, I would consider giving this a shot. It really helps me, and it's helped a lot of other people. Thanks.